In this video, I just wanted to talk briefly about putting some shading in the sketches that you're going to be doing over the next 4 class periods. In the first slideshow that I've posted on Blackboard, that is named Images for March 23rd, the final image is of an interior. This drawing is part of that interior. And I'm just going to throw some furniture in here and talk a little bit about shading. So, as you're used to by now, I will put a piece of trace over the drawings underneath. And I'm going to draw those 2 little cubes, upholstered cubes that are down here. They're pushed right up against that step. And first, I'm just going to put the cubes themselves in. Now, you've all drawn so many cubes at this point that you don't need me to tell you how to draw a cube. And in fact, you're probably better at it than I am. Remember that in this drawing, which is a single point drawing, all of the surfaces that are parallel to each other vanish to the same point, as is true in every single point drawing. There we go. So here are my 2 cubes. All right. So then I'm just going to throw a little shading on this. And again, I'm laying another piece of trace down because these aren't really straight cubes, are they? They've actually they're upholstered, so they have that leather or whatever makes a slightly radiused corner. And I think I made that one too deep, so I'm going to bring it in just a little bit. All right, just like that. They have rounded corners, just like this. Okay, and that looks a little better. And I'm going to maybe give this just a little bit of shading here to pull it forward. And I'm going to give them just a little shadow underneath them, just to ground them down on the floor in this interior. There's a little shadow in between them, and then we're grounded here. And then, as you're now very used to, all of you, we can bring the lines of our architecture in. Now, of course, you will all draw the chairs that are here and the rug that's on the floor. I do want to remind you that objects that are closer to the viewer are drawn with a darker line. Objects that are far in the middle ground are drawn with a medium weight line. And then objects that are farther away are drawn with the lightest line of all. And that will bring the foreground forward. There's not in this particular image, but if there were a coffee table in front of these, I'm just going to pretend that there is for a moment so that I can illustrate some more shading. Let's just say that there's a coffee table that's about here. And maybe it's a kind of a mid-century modern, kind of Danish modern kind of thing with a little tapered wooden legs, and it's got it's kind of a leg and rail thing like Tay Fred used to make. All right, so this is casting a shadow. If these are casting a shadow here from a relatively high angle light, this is going to cast a shadow similarly, and it's going to come up here, all right, and kind of there like that. And the shadow too is going to vanish, all right? And most of you know that the shadow is darker closer to the object and then lighter as it goes farther away from the object. And that also helps pull that object out a little bit. And so now you see how that just helps that sit down in that space. And it grounds it on the ground, on that ground plane. So as you're putting your furniture objects in, don't forget there's light in that space and they all cast a shadow. That's it for this one. Go ahead. Go draw.